In this video, I'm going to show you how to score your deer season, and I'll give you an update of kind of how my season went, and then just really showing what those mistakes that you made this year and making sure you're fixing those for this upcoming season. So really, what I'm trying to do with this is just making sure that you're fixing the problems that you made this year and making sure you don't do those problems next year. And so before we get into that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how my season went. And so I had a lot of good bucks this year. I was just really blessed to see all those bucks that I had on camera and all the bucks that I saw in person out of the stand this year. But this year I wasn't able to harvest a deer. I harvested a buck, and so my dad did. I'm really happy that the farm here, the farm that I've been working on here, my home, I'm really glad that we got a deer this year, that my dad did, but didn't get one for me. But I have a lot of reasons why, and showing you how I'm going to fix those this season. And so first of all was farmers and trespassers. And so we had a couple trespassers during the season, right during the rut, which really screwed up most of the rut for me. And then also during the rut, we had farmers out here in the fields, and I'll tell you why. And out in this field, you can't see it right now, but I'll show you a video. There's manure all over it because lime this year for the farmers went up 3 times the price. So instead of buying lime, they're fertilizing all the fields around my property. They did that from probably the first week of November to probably the last week of December. And so they were here for the majority of the hunting season, right next to my stand locations, right next to my bedding areas, right next to my food plot, working the ground. They spread manure, then they worked it, they tilled it under. So they were out here for a long time, almost every other day during the deer season, during the majority of the deer season. So that's really what I'm kind of, I guess you could say, blaming it on. But I also made a few mistakes this year, as well as we all do. But I didn't hunt this property a lot because those farmers were just out here all the time, right next to my stand locations. And I know tractors don't spook the deer that much, but when they're here every other day and they're right next to my stand locations in the little cover that is on this property, you can see all the way through this property through the camera. And it's winter right now. You can't do that during the summer, but I'm not hunting during the summer. I'm still working on upgrading that habitat so that way we have better cover on here, but it's just going to take a long time for that stuff to grow. And so that's another reason why I didn't see that. When they get spooked, when bucks especially get spooked on low cover properties like this, they're gone. So that's really what happened this year, is because of the farmers. But in October, before the farmers came, this was like deer were everywhere on here. I wasn't applying any pressure. I was hunting stands strategically. Out of this stand over here in this field, before it was harvested, standing beans, I had a really great stand location. I'm going to put this stand up next year. I could slip into this field without deer ever seeing me. I slipped out of the tree stand while 2 mature bucks were in the field feeding. And so that was really cool to see how that stand location worked out. And I didn't spook those bucks at all. So I was able to get in and out, being super, super quiet and super slow getting out. But I was able to make sure I don't spook those deer, even being 40, 50 yards away from them in the tree stand. But had 2 mature bucks, I think 3 actually. 1 came behind me, 2 were out in the field feeding. They were at 50 yards right. I wouldn't shoot over 35 with my compound bow, but they came really close. And then I got out of the stand, first sit of the season. I saw 2 does back here, I saw 3 does back here, and then I saw a buck come in the food plot while I was exiting, and I've unfortunately spooked him. But I still had mature bucks the next week. That's when I saw them out in the field, so that was really cool to see. But other than that, I had a lot of deer here during October, but after November they were gone, and that's because of the farmers out here almost every day. And then I was hunting property 20 minutes north here that's mostly woods. It's got a really cool habitat features to it. And so I would say I had 12 different encounters with mature bucks on that property. The last hunt that I did of the year, I had 2 mature bucks come behind me, grab my bow, and they ran off. I don't know if I spooked them or not. I don't know really what happened. And then my grandpa was sitting in another stand. He saw the same bucks but wasn't able to get a shot on them. And then I saw a bunch of bucks there this season and throughout the winter as well. So it was really cool. I'm not going to mention all the different encounters that I had, but I had probably 10 different encounters within 30 yards of a mature buck. I just wasn't able to get a shot off this year. So I definitely had a lot of opportunity this year. I'm still really happy about that. I really had one of the best years. Even though I didn't even get a shot on a deer, I pulled back on probably 2 out of the 10 that were in bow range. But even though I didn't get a deer this year, I still had one of the best seasons, probably the best season that I had, because of all the deer that were here during this deer season. And so that's really what you need to do to your own self and your own property, is making sure, what did I do as a mistake? What do I need to fix this year? I spooked a deer out of stand such and such. I need to fix that stand, move that stand. This bedding area isn't working here. Do I need to get rid of it completely? Do I need to add more to it? This food plot isn't working here. I'm spooking deer every time I get in and out. Do I need to change the stand location? Do I need to change the whole location of the food plot in general? And so that's what you really need to be doing here, especially when the leaves are all off the tree. You can really see the habitat because there's no leaves on the tree. And that's really, if you can see through your property a lot, like we can here, but I'm still working on that upgrading that cover. But if you can see through your property, that's not good for the late season at all. And so that's why we didn't have a lot of deer here during the late season. And so the second whitetail shift, where those mature bucks and deer shift to a winter property with more cover, that's what really happens. But making sure you're scoring yourself on your deer season, critiquing the things that went wrong, just making sure that you're fixing those for this season will really help you in this upcoming season, this year, and for the seasons to follow.